Hi, my name is Jarrett Hurms. I graduated my undergrad in 2018, and I also went for a master's in business health analytics, which I graduated in 2019. And presently, I'm a data and business process analyst at Forge Consulting here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So in my role, I do a lot of different things. But one of the things is Forge, before they hired me, was not serious in really utilizing data and analytics. So I kind of come in and really utilizing my prior experience within data management, data quality, and reporting analytics, and essentially being able to help prop up their data programs. So being able to looking from a database perspective, making sure that the databases are more clean or more clean and fit for use for the purpose of data and analytics, and also for CRM purposes. So a lot of data remediation on that end, as well as a lot of automation, a lot of our reports using Power BI, looking at the use of predictive analytics for the use of my organization to help sort of not just being reactive, but being more proactive, and being able to kind of manage a small team of analysts myself in addition. So mine is somewhat typical, but somewhat not. So I first went and after college, I was an econ major in my undergrad, and I knew I wanted to go into some degree of data analytics. And I started off with a graduate level internship while I was first enrolled in the master's in BI program. From there, I learned a lot of different things within data science and analytics. And I kind of stepped into, so I presently live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and there is a heavy banking and finance industry, and there they use a lot of data, so that I knew that would be a good segue into the data analytics sphere. So that's how I went into the data management and insights division at Wells Fargo, and from there moved myself up from role by role from there. So mine was pretty much kind of starting up with a few internships from both undergraduate and graduate, and then being able to kind of moving up from there. But part of it is also being able to having some of education and extra practice from a lot of these skills that you learn to be able to help refine your skills as you as you move up into your role. So definitely a lot of skills. So definitely first looking at the more hard skills. So again, my undergrad's in econ and my master's is in business health and analytics. So there's a lot of quantitative skills within data mining, predictive analytics, and other areas. So that was thanks to a lot of my undergrad courses in econometrics and research methods, and as well as a number of courses in my master's program. So being able to quantitatively reason with questions you may have. Also being able to learn different programming languages, which is very helpful, could be able to kind of taking more advanced methods, be able to kind of solve certain problems. So that was been a those have been very helpful skills. As far as in the soft skills, during my years at SJU, I've worked at the Career Center, so I learned a lot of networking skills, which is incredibly important because it's not just do you have the skills, but also be able to kind of know the right people and be able to know what areas be able to navigate in, be able to kind of move your way within there. And then it's just as well as being able to have a thirst for knowledge, and intellectual curiosity, being able to really learn, just naturally learn things as you kind of go along, and as well as just having a good attention to detail. So definitely the first is definitely the Career Center. I, coming from both working there as well as being a student there, I've definitely have received a lot of skills through both from employment basis, a lot of the networking and other events held by the Career Center, and then as well as going through things such as the career fair and other areas. In addition, there's other areas you can also look into. So for example, I was part of the Economic Society during my time as an econ major. From there, I was able to also network with a lot of economics alumni who have a very keen interest in being able to network with current econ students within our alma mater, which has definitely been able to be very helpful as far as being able to understand the people who are in my shoes anywhere from 2 years, 5 years, or 15 or 20 years down in the past, who were in my shoes and was able to kind of make a career after their econ degree. So so definitely being involved with whatever club or society that is within your major can be very helpful. And also just attending just general networking alumni events, because we have a very strong alumni network and a lot of alumni who enjoy being able to help current students. Definitely be sure to get yourself out there. Be sure to have a resume or a business card handy and be able to practice a good handshake. I know for some people, people may have anxiety or maybe nervous to be able to meet people in front. So it definitely takes just going to different networking events to be able to kind of get to be able to hone in some of those networking skills. You're not always going to be great at networking the first time around. That's absolutely okay. But as well as you get practice, you will definitely be really good and be able to kind of come up with and kind of practice questions you may have for such players, but again, but also still allow for the conversation to go organically and really just kind of talk about whatever you guys kind of allow the conversation to get into. So definitely some barriers definitely included areas such as being a Black male. There's definitely not a whole lot of Black males within the data field. So being able to find other Black males within the analytics field has definitely been very helpful in being able to network there as well. One of the things was also a geographical area. So I was kind of late in the game when I realized I wanted to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. So definitely so one of the things I wish I did sooner was be able to kind of network within Charlotte sooner. If once I realized that Charlotte was going to be a very serious place to be able to begin my career, and then just in general, I would definitely say some degree of imposter syndrome. I think that you seem to realize that you are definitely a stronger candidate or a stronger worker than you may think you are, but sometimes it's easy to kind of talk yourself out of it or be nervous to go into certain spaces or be nervous to go into certain projects. But just realize that you were hired for a reason. You have a set of skills that were unique and set yourself apart the rest. And for that, that is something you need to really hone in on and realize. So the Hawk Career Network, so within LinkedIn, has been very helpful. There's also a Jesuit Career Network, which is basically a network of alumni from all of the Jesuit universities within the country has been able to be helpful. So, for example, if you wanted to set your career in Boston, there are definitely SU alumni who live, let's say, in Boston, Massachusetts, but then there's also the Jesuit network within Boston, Massachusetts from those who may have attended Boston College or BC. So those are areas that are definitely you'll be able to take good advantage of. And then also just in no matter what city you may choose to be in, a lot of fields you may have certain affinity groups or clubs that are kind of associated with those individual fields. So for example, I joined what's called the Charlotte Business Intelligence Group or Charlotte BI Group or CBIG. And from there, I was able to network with a lot of analytics professionals within Charlotte, North Carolina area specifically. And where I can be able to see like what jobs may be opening up, what jobs may be good for me, what companies I should kind of look for applying to, so on and so forth. So that's also been a really good resource. And then for anyone who, whether it be Charlotte, Boston, Philly, or whatever, there's always some kind of affinity group or networking group that's specific within your field that you can be able to kind of find if you kind of look hard enough. I think part of it was kind of honing in on what specific area within your major or within the career path you want to go into relatively early. Not saying you have to stick to that particular path, but more so have a good degree of direction. As an econ major, you can go into pretty much anywhere and everywhere. But also that means that sometimes you may not always focus on a particular area. So for example, I've thought about going into finance, thought about going into public policy, and I have thought about going into analytics. And all three of those are very good areas to go into. One of the things I wish I did is definitely network on the analytics area a little bit more. Not to take away from my other networking efforts, but just being able to kind of hone into some of those sooner. But that being said, I definitely wouldn't say it was a major barrier, but definitely something I wish I kind of knew before.